But yeah, he threw hard, and he had an over the top, a 12-6 curveball, as they say, that went straight down, and it was unhittable. He threw a no hitter against Texas Arlington, and everybody's out there, and I'm sitting there going, great game. I didn't feel real comfortable. I said, Dave, he wanted more, I don't tell him, I tell you this. He just wanted more. And he says, I just didn't have confidence. If you don't have confidence, kid, well, it's not that I knew he was going to be an attorney. I knew. No, but he was really good. And that's the thing that, as time goes by, when you go on and you do other things, sometimes they forget just how good you were. If you never did anything else, if he would have become a coach, they would have been talking about his playing career. But he decided to become a state senator and chair of the Department of Transportation, so.
Already getting ragged, and I've just got up to the table.
Oh, yeah, got ragged yet. Don't worry about it.
Oh, no, that ain't even started.
I was given an opportunity to play at Lamar, and my first year, the guy sitting next to me was the pitching coach. And so I learned more from him that one year than I've learned in any of the years before or after. So I was fortunate.
Pitchers are smarter than the rest of the players, and they usually get better jobs than coaching. I was one of those guys that wasn't going to be an attorney, and I became a coach. And so it's easy to be the best one you've ever had since nobody wants to do it. And the first pitch David threw was a fastball, and I had something on. I said, oh, this is going to be fun to work with. Then he threw a curveball that was unhittable. I said, this is really going to be fun. I was right in my assessment of his first batter that he pitched to. He went on to be our guy, and he did it against the good teams. And that's one of the underrated things, is that when you're number one on a Lamar back then, you're getting to pitch against Texas and Baylor and all the good teams because we didn't have another one like David.
The gentleman sitting to my left and the coach sitting to my left is the one that did that and built it with players and teams year after year. When I went to Lamar, the field out at Lamar looked like a cow pasture. I mean, it was rough. There was a barbed wire fence about 4 feet off behind first base dugout. And the cars could drive right up to the fence, and you'll see pictures where we didn't have enough of a dugout to where everybody could sit in it. So we've got pictures back then where some of the starters are sitting on the ground. But that's not the point. The point is that all of us as young men loved the game of baseball. And we would have played in a parking lot with asphalt with a broom handle and a tennis ball. We wanted to continue the dream that we had as young boys to play out on the field, and so we got into it. We played. We were fortunate that the group that I played with, that we won the first conference championship in 1971. He came back in 73 and then began the process of recruiting and building the legacy that is Lamar. And you don't build a legacy like Lamar with one team or one season. You build it over the course of a career, and that's the legacy of Jim Gilligan.
Great baseball player, but David is possibly the best ragger I've ever heard. And
you know what a ragger?
Well, when you're on the guy that's pitching or hitting and you're trying to get in their head, this guy was really good. There was a pitching coach for Arlington when we were up there.
It was actually a pro. It was a game.
It was in pro ball.
Yeah, pro ball.
And this guy said something to us. David was sitting next to me, and we had just finished a game that day. We had beaten Arlington, so we were in good spirits. And he said something to David. You should never talk to anybody in the stands. And David got on that guy, and he finally took a white towel, and waved it. He says, "No mas, please leave me alone." But it was I can't tell you the rags because, like David says, sometimes they're for mature audiences. But he got into that guy's head, and he was good about that. When he wasn't pitching, he was going to get in your noggin if you were.
I have had fun together on the field, off the field, and everything in between. And there are stories. I'll say this, appropriate for family viewing, and then there's other stories that should be left to close friends and people who have sworn to silence or have some sort of immunity.
It's the company you keep. My mother always told me that, and I've got two of my very best friends going up there with me, so it's very important to me.
It's a little boy's dream. You dreamed when you're a little leaguer, T-baller, to play the game, play it as long as you can, and play it as well as you can. And so it means it's indescribable to be able to say that I'm up on the wall. My jersey is next to Jim Gilligan and Kevin Millar, and so to me, I'm just honored to be there with them and to look back over the time that I was a player here at Lamar and the events that occurred then and then afterwards, and so it's just a tremendous honor, and I'm very proud of that.